I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, everyone is, Kevin Crouch is on his way here, and I don't know whether Jason is coming back on. He was on remotely earlier today. We'll wait and see. So right now, I will just ask for, I guess I'll ask for to excuse both Kevin and Jason, although Kevin has sent a text that he is on his way. So can I have a motion to excuse both of them and listen until Kevin shows up?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, we have one guest, which is Lucy Moynihan. As I understand, she does not wish to speak.
No, am I the only resident?
Oh, these are all residents now.
I know, but I'm just saying, that's a little shy.
There's some right here with me online that helps.
My husband.
Oh, remotely. And we have present our 3 incoming board of director members, so we welcome all of that.
I just wanna keep them there.
I paid it.
Wait till you start voting on stuff and see.
All right, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda that everyone has?
Second.
Any discussion? Any all in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? All right, consent agenda is approved. Mark, we know you have another commitment later, so if you would give your presentation, we welcome it and we'll let you go home.
Thank you for the opportunity. I just have a few really simple comments. Updates. We are having our town hall tonight, so promotion if you can, come over there. There are beverages, different than TLA meetings. We have beverages there. So, no, but we have a good agenda. We actually have a community cooperation item on the agenda. A little bit about starting the stormwater awareness. I think that's important for all of us, right? If Sean can make it, that'd be great. If you can free him up, that'd be wonderful. In terms of the club itself, all our financial metrics, all our amenity metrics are exceeding expectations, which is good. Membership, really interesting. We had budgeted to be at this point membership about 30 memberships down from the beginning of the year, and in fact we are 1 ahead of last year. So we are 31 ahead of budget. That's trend that goes against the trends. So that's interesting. We announced our dues increase yesterday, which is a month before typically it's done in the past. I thought it was important for everyone to see, since the board had already approved it. I thought that was important to get the word out, to get the discussions going. So that's probably what I'll be spending a fair amount of my time this evening talking about. Something, Patty, that you arranged that I was invited to was the Chatham County Roundtable, and I thought that was phenomenal. And so I'm asking the club leadership, the new leadership, for next year, make sure we make that happen. Get everyone together, maybe even have a nice lunch for all the Chatham County folks, just to get to know them better and build that relationship. So that was something really good. So that's really all I had to talk about. Happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Mark?
See you later.
See you later. I'm gonna give you a big hug. Thank you.
I know, yeah.
Have a drink for us.
All right.
Just don't. All right, new business, Carl.
Okay, biggest pending project website we're working on right now. I believe Lynn will be sending it out tomorrow
Yes, I will.
to the board to take a look at. We've continued to make adjustments based on our 60 beta testers. Communications committee had a good meeting like we talked about at the board workshop. Our providers continue to make updates, including items to look different on phones and tablets versus the desktop, which was something we came out of our feedback. We changed our AI chatbot yesterday based on feedback. We put in one that I learned about it, the CAI large scale workshop, chatting with one of my fellow attendees on the bus. And so he showed it to me. So it was really interesting because this one also, you can talk to it. You can have a verbal conversation as well with it. So we're working through that. Lynn had a really good idea, since we're still working through the database, we're gonna soft launch it to the community,
First week of December.
first week of December, thank you, so I don't say the wrong date on something. We're gonna have a link on our homepage, you know how we'll do like a button up at top if it's time to vote on something or assessment or whatever. To send people to the full site to start getting their feedback on it, and we'll continue working through that as we're tying it into our database. So we'll say, hey, we're opening it up, we've made some changes, we want to hear from you, and we'll continue to work through it until we're ready to switch it over. We don't want to prematurely switch over our data, our website, and lose things like neighbor search or stuff like that people already have access to. Lynn, any other thoughts on that?
No, sorry, you got it all.
Okay, any questions on that? We will be looking to get your feedback starting Wednesday for the next week or so after that, leading into Thanksgiving, so we can make any adjustments based on what y'all are seeing. When you test it out, please do it on your phone, your tablet, your desktop, your laptop. It looks a little bit different on all of those. And we've had a good mix of iPhone versus Android and Mac versus PCs. So we know some, I don't know if the calendar item's still working or not on the iPhone. That was one little issue we had on subscribing to a calendar.
He's working on that,
Still
he
working
thinks
on that.
he has it, but I need to test it, I haven't tested it.
Okay, sounds good. So we are looking for, and play around with the chat bot, because we see when the conversations happen and we see if it doesn't answer a question. So we can, one of our beta testers was asking it some stuff it didn't know, so Lynn and I updated that today to make sure it could do it. So we are looking for your feedback.
Congrats.
That we're getting there. We feel, thank you. The feedback so far has been, it looks a lot better, it's easier to find stuff. The search isn't perfect, let's get the chatbot better. So we're working through some of those kind of things, but we'll keep doing it. And that's why I keep calling it a living website. The chatbot wasn't doing what we wanted, so we switched it out to a different one that I think is gonna be less expensive too, so as we work through it, so that's good. All right, any questions for me on any other topics? Sean had something, yes.
No, I was just gonna tell Patty the number's 21. I was just texting Jonathan.
Okay.
Sorry.
Little peanut gallery going on there. Okay, Jessica, there we are, monthly financial.
Alright, this information begins in your packet and it will be for the month ending October 2025. Total cash at the end of October equaled 5.6 million, total investments equaled 9.7 million. Interest earnings in the month of October were $40,629, which was the majority from our capital reserves fund. Total operating revenue, 10.9 million, which is 608,000 better than our budget projected. Total operating expenses before depreciation equaled 10.6 million, which is 335,000 more than budget, bringing us to a net revenue over expense of 312,552, which is 253,000 better than the budget. On the revenue side, some of these drivers bringing us to the better than budget point. Annual vehicle registration still continuing to perform better than budget. Interest earnings mainly due to the interest we received last month on the employee retention tax credit that was owed to us from the Internal Revenue Service since 2021. Architectural fees mainly due to the review fees. Other is the tree violation and our Comcast revenue share performing better than budget. On the expense side, contingency expenses, I mentioned yesterday we declared hurricane season over for 2025. So we spent minimal expense on a snowstorm for this year. Our engineering studies, mainly due to the timing of when those studies have been performed in our budget. Taxes, we had a very minimal federal tax liability this year and we had planned that at a $65,000 budget point. Repair and maintenance performing more than budget, mainly due to forklift and seawall repairs, and our staffing expenses performing more than budget. Two of our largest departments, Public Works and Security, both are budgeted in 2025 at 90% staffing, and that will be budgeted in 2026 at 95% staffing. The capital expenditures we've spent 3.4 million to date out of the $5.8 million budget. 56% on roads, 22% on storm drains, 14% bridges, structures, and equipment, 5% on community paths, 10% on lagoons, and 1% on marinas. Several capital projects have been completed this year, and of these capital projects that have been completed, we are at 82,000 better than the budget projected for those. At the end of October, members' equity equaled 16 million, which is an increase of 3.2 million since January 1st of 2025. And as of today, we have 20 non-assessment accounts receivable accounts past due, and we have 6 assessment accounts with a past due balance compared to 8 of last year. In December, we will be voting on the 2026 budget items, so I would remind you to be present with a motion, ready to make motions. There will be several of those that we will move forward with, including the operating budget, capital reserves budget, the resolution 70-604, the fee schedule, and also the budget assumptions. Any questions on the financial information?
Are there any of those outstanding that are in probate, or have we collected all those?
There may be one that is in probate. There are also 3 that we have a payment plan that is set up with our collection attorney, and 1 is in a bankruptcy status.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna turn over to Rosemary, treasurer, to talk about the annual audit engagement.
So each year we have an audit done, and for a number of years we've used what is known here as HB3. They're very familiar with the workings of our fiscal policies and our financial planning. At each year, when we have an audit subcommittee meeting, we talk about the need to think about whether we should be changing, since one doesn't want to get too comfortable with the auditors who review our books. We had that conversation, and we agreed that again this year we would go with HB3. Their proposal is in your package. We looked at it yesterday at the Finance Committee, and it is my proposal that we accept this as the engagement for 2025.
Can we have a motion to approve the HB3 contract? Second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
All right,
Reserves.
item D was our reserve platform contract. We're gonna table that for a month based on feedback from the Finance Committee this week to look at a couple of other options as well to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck with the software. So we will bring that forward for action, hopefully next month through Finance Committee and then to the board.
Aaron, community development.
While she's getting set up, she helped us set up this Bluffton tour that we did last Friday. It was very beneficial. We will do a presentation at the board workshop next week, but it was fun for us to get to see where Erin used to work and some of the projects she had worked on in a planning capacity. So that was really nice. So thank you, Erin, for setting that up for us.
Of course. So I'm here today to present the October 2025 Community Development Activity Report. Number of permits issued by month, we are again up from this time last year. We had 126 versus 112 the same time this last year. We are almost at 1,300 permits this year, which is close to our record numbers. So there's only a couple of years in the last 5 years where we've exceeded 1,300 permits. So we are steady onward and upward. In terms of applications in front of the ARC, again, these numbers are up from this time last year. We had 34 applications before the committee last month versus 24 the same time last year. The committee, has also been very active and busy this year as well. In terms of our summary of construction activity, we've had 2 new homes completed, so that's 10 year to date. We had 1 new home that broke ground, so we have 16 active new construction sites. 10 major improvements were permitted last month, 72 minor permits, 25 dumpsters, pods, and porta-johns, and then 17 permit extensions. For our trends, we wanted to take a look and see about the breakdown of permit review activity. This is something that I've been asked about before. So in 2020 is when ARC, the meetings started to become untenable because the agendas were so long, so they turned over a large section of the review to staff, all things that were compliant with the architectural guidelines, retaining the control over new construction, major improvements, all those kinds of things. So in 2020, you can see staff's reviews started increasing, and then you see it dramatically increase over the years. So here we are at 2025 year to date, staff's reviewed 922 applications versus ARC's review of 356. We expect that based on this activity that staff's reviews will exceed 1,000 this year. We're running roughly 90 permits a month, and then ARC's reviewing roughly 35 applications per month. So it's quite a bit of activity, but here you can kind of see the breakdown of that. In terms of our private property maintenance violations, we had 15 versus 21 of this time last year. As I mentioned in our last meeting, we do have a new inspector who's just getting off of the training cycle and starting to take over those cases. So we will see these numbers start to trickle up. Same thing with the courtesy notices. We had 6 last month versus 48 this time last year. We also had a cold snap last year where a lot of courtesy notices went from vegetation and landscaping. In terms of our summary of our inspection activity, we had 287 site visits and ARC inspections. 1,632 properties were inspected for routine private property maintenance inspections. 54 properties were re-inspected for those follow-ups of active cases. We had 13 properties in violation resolved. 69% of those were without formal written notice. We have had more and more cases that are going to actual written notice or fines to remediate them. Some of those are cases that maybe started with a courtesy notice. They were given a certain time frame to work through resolving the situation, and they were not able to follow through with their plan of action. And sometimes the formal notices and the fines have been required to get compliance. When we look at our breakdown of violations, last month most of our violations were related to landscaping at 64%. We had 18% for architectural review committee related. Those are oftentimes when someone's doing work without a permit, or doing work beyond the scope of their permit. We had 9% home maintenance and 9% were associated with driveways and driveway maintenance. Any questions?
Your increase in staff reviewed permit requests, what's that doing to the demand on the workload? Are we gonna see an additional person added or more than an additional person?
We have added an additional person. So over the last few years, we moved from a department of 4 to 5. When it is fully staffed and they're up to speed, it is capable and it's running and it's okay. And we have some updated software and procedures that do help us out a lot. Aaron did a good job a year and a half ago switching over to some software that really helps track it and keep with it. When we have an inspector leave like we did recently for a different career, that does create a strain, and that's where we do have to back off on some of those proactive private property maintenance inspections so that we can get through the architectural review requests.
So when you hit it, what number do you have to hit before you have to add another staff member? Wait, I'm not gonna hold you accountable, but is it 1,000? Is it 1,200?
Well, this last year we also shifted some of the duties around in the department. So our administrative assistant, who had previously worked through helping to establish kind of the workflow on applications and take in the applications, she's now doing some of the reviews as well on those the kind of the lesser applications, pods, porta-johns, those kinds of things, as well as roof permits and some of the other things. So that's also helped to kind of spread the activity throughout the department and utilize everyone, and also give people opportunity for growth and expansion in their skills.
To be determined.
To be determined.
But to that point, I will say, y'all will get some documentation from me later this week for my GM eval, and part of that is an updated strat plan with monthly updates. You will see one of them is on hold right now, and that is our tree preservation policy, because we're determining what falls where in public works and community development and how that's handled because of staffing levels and how to sort that out. So those are things we continue to work through on shifting responsibilities around based on workload.
We don't have an additional person in the 3-year budget projection we're doing now, right?
No, that's correct.
I have a quick question about houses being built.
Yes.
So you give a permit to build a new house.
Mhm.
Is there an expectation of a time frame for that?
Yes,
And
typically.
how much is that?
So typically the permits are 12 months.
Okay.
So from the time that the permit is issued to the time that the project is finished on the exterior, the time frame is 12 months. There have been a couple cases where the properties required surcharging, and they were afforded some additional time, because when they surcharge a lot, it means that they bring in fill and it has to settle so that they can reach proper compaction, and so no work can transpire. So if we started their permit on that day one and they had to let it settle for 6 months, there's no way that they would be able to accomplish it. So there are a couple projects where the activity on the lot may have appeared to go longer than 12 months, but on the standard application, it's 12 months. There have been a couple that have, for some reasons or others, whether it's products or issues with tariffs and getting certain products in from China and Canada, most of them have been finishing within their timeframes.
This came as a question from a neighbor. So the house that's being built in the cul-de-sac off Black Hawk, that's right on Creek South, the people who live opposite have we all get asked questions, why is that taking so long? Nobody's working there. Now, I know that there was a significant amount of drainage issue that was taken care of before they began building, but there have been many days when there's nobody working there at all. So it was just a question from somebody, and I didn't know how to answer it.
Sure, and I do appreciate that. You can always send them our way.
Okay.
We reach out to the contractors when they start to get close to their expiration dates and inquire, you have 60 days remaining on your permit. What's the status of your project? Are you going to be able to complete it and finish it? There are some projects where the exterior finishes and they still have work on the interior. They're only subject to the architectural guidelines for the exterior, so as long as they complete the exterior of the house, install all of the landscaping, have the driveway and all the other remnants of construction taken off site, except for maybe a dumpster, they can proceed with interior work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, if you can get the security one set up. So Chad Bundy is filling in for Tim, who was out trying to help control the deer population, but not within the landings,
Yay.
unfortunately. Not here, unfortunately. Yeah, you had a yay a little bit too soon there, but Tim's not normally that lucky anyway, so odds are he won't have help from the population. And Chad, so if people haven't met Chad, he's been with us probably our longest employee at this point. And we created the captain position for Chad a year ago, I think. And so he really helps oversee the training for us, and that was a big focus last year, working with Karen and Tim and Chad on standard operating procedures, training, and the like. So thank you for coming in and filling in.
Absolutely. All right, yeah, October statistics for the security department. Crime statistics, 0 Part 1 crimes. We did have 1 theft that involved a package being taken off the front porch of the property. 2 vandalism. 1 vandalism involved a vehicle parked at the Oak Ridge Club. When she got home, she stated that the tire was slashed a couple of times. So she's working with the club on that in their video to see if they can find anything. The other vandalism was just some cupcakes thrown at the building outside here on the athletic field. So we had 1 trespass. A gentleman walked on the property, ignored our officers at the main gate, continued to walk on the property. Convinced going Landing's Way South was going to get him to Savannah. We had Chatham County Police come out and they did remove him off the property and thought there was probably maybe a mental issue or something going on. So, golf cart stats for the month. We did have one complaint received, 5 violations. 3 of those involved unlicensed driver violations as well in October. Guardian Pro, speed data, we had it first over in the beginning of October on Landings Way South at Huntswood Retreat. A little bit of a higher threshold at 47 miles an hour, but we did have a total of 52 violations in that area. We then moved it over to Shellwind and Sundew, a lower threshold over there at 42 miles an hour. And so we had a total of 131 violations in that area.
So and to that point, we're trying to move it around so it's basically in the same locations as where it was, so we can see year over year what's going down. Yeah, and I think last I heard from Tim is about a 24% decrease or somewhere in there. I mean, so we can look at it. This was a higher number, but if you look at the one before it, if you recall last year when we first did it, we had a lot more in more buckets as well. So we're seeing the dramatic speeds are not happening. We're having more in the very first speed bucket that we have.
That 124 is not
Horrendous.
Well,
high compared to the last time.
again, we'll have to pull that, but again, it's not the 48s, the 53s, the
Right, gotcha.
58s. We're having the 12 to 15 over still, not as much as before, memory serves, and we'll pull those numbers, but it's not in all those other ones like it used to be.
Thank you.
All right, our citations overview, and this does not include the speed violations for October 2025. We issued 21 citations compared to 21 last year this time. And total fines were $1,600 compared to $1,100 a year ago. This is just kind of a pie chart of the violations that we issued. The most common are parking on an unpaved surface and I believe it's unlicensed drivers, golf cart drivers as well. The appeals committee heard 2 appeals this month or in October. One was a failure to stop and fleeing from an officer. Another one was parking on unpaved surface, and both appeals were denied and upheld. Any questions?
Any questions for Chad? Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. The next action we have, yes, Larry for the split rail. Larry, you wanna talk about that? Item G.
For page 39, there's no presentation of this. On your packet, you'll find the staff report that went before the Marine Committee on the 13th and Finance on the 17th for $25,000 to replace the split rail fence at the Landings Harbor Marina. The split rail fence was replaced or had some work done to it. I don't know exactly the extent of it, back in 2008. According to the camp, and it was used traditional lumber, wood products. The success that we had with the pier and the composite materials that we used, and then the PVC sleeves on the post, that's holding up very well over the last couple of years. So we want to keep that same vibe, if you will, coming off the pier and then into the marina. We'll kind of join the 2 amenities nicely, and it will hold up much better than the wood. We did discuss this within in-house. Public Works Department did that work on the pier 2 years ago, so we discussed it in-house with the Public Works construction manager, and we feel like we should be able to do this project in-house. So we're going to be saving on the labor and installation of it. So we are looking to request $25,000 to replace the split rail fence at Landings Harbor Marina.
We have a motion to that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? By the way, Larry, at the drop-in session today, there was great kudos given to the good job that the marina staff does, so just want to pass that on.
What do we do? You did good?
You did a great job. You did great.
I will say, Jesse Rubin with the club passed on the kudos that Sean had received in one of their surveys recently, and he said, you know, Sean, you received some acknowledgement, and I was, what is it saying in here, right? And it's good stuff. So I wanted to give that and also share the kudos coming from the club as well in that direction. But
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. The last item we have not listed on here, but we had some discussion about appointing Kimberly McDowell as Assistant Secretary. She fulfills that role in practice for the association, but this would be formalizing it. I'm gonna turn it over to Marion if you have anything you would like to add to that.
I would like to make motion to name Kimberly McDowell as Assistant Secretary.
Second?
Any discussion? Thank you for doing it all along. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, board committee and special reports. Do you have anything, Rosemary? Nope. All right. Marion, always.
Thank you. On page 3, you will note two, I think, one rules and reg revision dealing with covered vehicles to indicate that they are, to confirm that they are not permitted within the community. And so I need, I'm sorry, I do have another rules and regs revision on golf carts. And again, on this revision, we are clarifying that a person operating a golf cart must have in their possession either a valid driver's license or a valid learner's permit, and to indicate that persons with a learner's permit must be in the company of an individual of at least 21 years old with a valid driver's license. Should I go to the next one?
Sure, we can do all of them.
Okay, we'll do all of them at once. The next item that we addressed in governance committee was the Government Relations Committee Charter. It's a little bit of a mouthful. And we have this committee was established, I believe, at our last board meeting. And now we have, at the governance committee, we approved the charter under which the committee will operate. So I need a motion to approve those two rules and regs revisions, and also to approve the government relations charter.
So moved.
Any discussions or questions for Marion? We've had ongoing confusion about the driver's license for golf carts. This should make it very clear. You must have a driver's license to operate a golf cart, or if you have a learner's permit, you must have a licensed driver 21 years or older with you in the front seat of the cart. Otherwise, you may not drive a golf cart.
And Patty, our understanding is the club will adopt identical language.
Exactly, I just wrote myself a note to make sure I send them the specific language. Brian?
Just one question I have, this is a little bit of a technical thing, but have in their possession, does that mean if they're stopped, they need to have physically the driver's license with them right then and
Legally,
there? Or can they then subsequently show they have
Legally,
it?
you are required to have it with you.
Okay.
But
then
we
you
did
can have either
ask
or.
Tim that at the workshop, and he said, well, as long as they can produce it.
Okay, yeah.
Does,
legally it's
does the
required.
electronic one count?
Well, that's a good question. He didn't answer that question. The state, for the state, they say you can still be required.
But the question, what's before us now is the language in the two revisions and the charter. Any further questions on the language for the revisions or the charter? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the two revisions are approved, as is the charter. All right, any further strategic water? Do we have anything? You have a strategic water meeting tomorrow, so.
Do tomorrow, but I will share with everyone a little bit of background about our King Tide mapping event. We had a very successful mapping event, a high degree of engagement with residents. Approximately 100 people participated, and the club put a lot of effort in. We mapped every golf course hole, and I would say the majority of the perimeter of the island. There were some gaps because some people didn't participate in those private property issues, but we did a lot. We mapped 5,300 data points around the island, and we're working now with Wetlands Watch to download that data electronically, so it'll be on an elevation map, and we will use that as a baseline. What we learned through the exercise was interesting. The wind speed was 2 miles an hour, so it was very calm, which was great. Temperature in the mid-50s, and barometric pressure was very close to standard. To some people's disappointment, there was very, very little coastal flooding, almost none of it, which some people were upset about. They wanted the water, and so the learning for the entire exercise was that even when the tide is between 9.7 feet and 10.4, depending on the island, we can absorb more water through any type of sea level rise. What we can't absorb or plan for is significant wind events where there's storm surge. That's going to hit us because we live on an island. So we'll use that data as a baseline to begin a resiliency planning effort. And through the process, well, we made some good contacts with Chatham County who are interested in sharing information. So overall, a good exercise, and we look forward to year 2 next fall.
All right.
Well done.
Maybe that's what we did the last, did not. Did we approve it with the officers last meeting last time?
No, we haven't even completed the
Okay. All right, any other directors' comments or questions? All right. Now's the time for me to give my brief president's report, and I will try and be quick. I would like to say we are continuing cooperation with our on-island entities. We are working for adherence to rules for the benefit of the entire community, be they driving, fishing, stop signs, and all of the rules that try and make our community safer for everyone. We've had cooperation in evaluating the community storm drains, and as we talked earlier, more about that will be forthcoming as we continue to work forward in that effort. We have worked together to minimize disruption for residents and to maximize safety as the Franklin Creek construction gets underway. We would like everyone to make sure that your guests over the holidays are aware of all of our applicable rules and regulations. And we think all of this coordination is a benefit to each one of us and to our community as a whole. Rob talked about the Catch the King. I'd like to give a special thanks to all who participated in that program earlier this month. It was very beneficial, and we look forward to it being a continuing project. Another thank you to everybody who applied for committees. Those assignments will be coming out next month, but we thank you for your interest and application. TLA continues to work via our USDA employees to cull the deer, and we have removed 223 to date. Please respect these employees of the USDA who are helping to take care of our community, respect their efforts, and please act appropriately and safely with respect to them. Do bear with us as we continue to work to improve gate access reliability. We know it's frustrating to our residents. Please know it's frustrating to our team as well as we try and find answers to the numerous issues. Not only people hitting the gates, lightning hitting the gates, old gates, gates from various vendors, etc. We are looking to replace gates on a budgeted system over the beginning in the very near future so that we can hopefully have more consistent and less disruption in the gates going forward. And at the TLA board drop-in today, we only had 3 attendees, but we talked almost the entire hour with them. We appreciate their interest, and we think that all of these discussions are very productive. The next one is for a board drop-in. There's a staff drop-in in as well, I believe. But
Yes.
there's a board drop-in on December 16th at 3 o'clock. And I would also like to commend the people working on the Diamondback Terrapins, because this year we had a record 6,711 new little turtles. Which is a record, which is a record. 6,711.
Can we train them to eat deer?
So anyhow, that takes care of my president's report. Anything else before we adjourn to executive session? All right, thank you one and all. Can I have a motion to adjourn to executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?